Hello, and welcome back to the Den. I'm Tobin, here today to do an artisan spotlight-ish Barrister and Mann, my top 10 favorites. It wasn't easy. I have about the same amount of Barrister and Mann as I do Sterling. Right around 25 complete sets. That's soaps, splashes, bombs, or a mixture of the two. In 2013, while attending law school, William created Barrister and Mann. He had sensitive skin, and that's where it first started, and he received a lot of help from his mom and his dad. And my understanding is that for a period of time, and maybe even still, I'm not sure, but his mom and dad had a hand on helping him with the company, so it's very much a family business. I think Will definitely has, him and one other artisan I'll talk about in a little bit, they have some super cool backstories. In 2007 to 2010, William was a bat engraver in Cooperstown. So like he was engraving baseball bats in Cooperstown. In 2000, at the same time actually, 2007 to 2010, he worked at Price Chopper while attending Cornell. So he's got the bat engraving going on. He's a cashier at Price Chopper, which is like a Kroger or wherever you might live, Albertsons, a grocery store, a supermarket. And he's attending school at Cornell University. Busy boy. He would end up earning his JD from the New England School of Law. And I think that was 2013, the same year that he started his soaps. When the soaps first came out, we had the white label and the black label. This is an example of one of the black labels. This is not in my top 10. I love this fragrance. The current lavender that they have out now is amazing. They've never had a bad lavender, like Lavender, the one that was in the lather line. I really enjoyed that. So, never had a white label. And this was actually my second soap. We'll talk about that. Lavender, black label. In 2015, he released the Glissant base, June 2015, and that improved upon the slickness and glide of the white and black label. Fast forward just a little bit, a few months later in 2015, he would create the lather line. And again, this one is not in my top 10. This is just an example of the lather line. These are small, 4 ounce. And the reason why he created the lather line was because of lanolin. Some people have, oh shoot, what's the word I'm looking for? Sensitivities to lanolin. But lanolin is extremely good for your skin, nourishing, hydrating. It's just super good for your skin. Lanolin is great for your skin. So of course, a lot of artisans want to put it in there because it's a great natural way to feed the skin, if you will. In 2018, the lather line came to an end. In 2017, the reserve line came out. And here's another example of the reserve line, which is still in production today. Like Cool is a part of that. That's actually one that I just picked up from the wet shaving store, Andy, and will be here very soon. I think it's 6 soaps in the reserve line, and you can still buy them today at Barrister Mann and other retailers. But here's an example of one. This is the Old Spice. This is not in my top 10 countdown. I actually have an Old Spice homage video planned that I'm going to do from a bunch of different artisans. I really enjoy the whole Old Spice, exploring the different artisans and their interpretation of it. I've got a few of them. So with those things being said, those are just my example soaps right there. I've shown you my 3 example soaps that are not in my countdown. In 2018, November 2018, the Excelsior base would come out. And I thought that was like the best base ever when it came to a tallow, all natural base. I didn't think it could get any better. I started out bowl loading with this one with my brush, and I've since started scooping. You see it going around there. Excelsior was just amazing. It took the white label, the glissant, and the reserve, and took all those properties that were good and put them into one base. And I really thought that was kind of like we were just going to ride on Excelsior forever because it was perfect. It was great with hard water. I guess there were some complaints. I don't have hard water problems, so it's hard for me to give an accurate diagnosis or, you know, assess the situation or compare. I can't contrast and compare because I don't have hard water. I'm very fortunate living here in Oregon, and I have great water coming out of the tap. In fact, it might be better than what you're buying at the store. And then the guy William goes and knocks us all off of our feet when he comes out with the omnibus base in September of 21. Just when I thought that it couldn't get any better, he comes out with the omnibus. And I didn't have any omnibus until 6 months ago. It was shortly after I started doing my videos. I was in no rush to buy it. I had a bunch of, you know, soaps, and so finally I was like, okay. I kept just hearing more and more great things about this base, and it is. It's like I gotta get one. I'm doing these videos, and so I first bought a hazelnut, and that was my first one. It was perfect because that's the one I did at the Filbert hazelnut orchard. You can find that video. I'll try and put a link to that in the description as well. I was immediately impressed. One of the things with omnibus is that, unlike Excelsior had lanolin in it. Remember, we had lather because lather was lanolin free. But it's hard to get a premium product without lanolin, unless you're a mad scientist named Will Karras. He was able to do it with the omnibus base. It is beautiful. So just look at like the color differences. You'll notice that most of your Excelsior soaps look very similar to this. And then most of your omnibus soaps, and there's differences with tint, but for the most part, from what I'm seeing, they're all very similar, and that's a common theme with soaps, right? This stuff's just beautiful. I am loving the omnibus base. I seriously, like, Excelsior, I didn't think it was ever going to get any better than that, and can I say it again about omnibus base? It's been said that it's his last base. I doubt it. Hopefully it's his last base for a while because I'm really loving it. And once again, I don't think it can get any better. But I said that about Excelsior. And now I'm saying about Omnibus. And I can't wait to see what the next base is from Will. I know he's not done. With all that said, all that jingle, jangle, bingle, bangle, let's get into this countdown, right? I've kind of shown you a couple. I've shown you a couple already. Lather line. Reserve line, black label, not in the countdown, not in the top 10, not a countdown. My third grade math skills make it extremely difficult for me to use words. One of my maybe it is my most recent acquisition, Cool, is coming in the mail. That's one of the reserve lines. It's a barbershop, an older fragrance. It's on its way. Oh, and real quick, if you get a chance to buy one of their brushes, I bought this for like $8 a few years ago. They're not on the website right now, but this is a great cheap brush. It is just your run-of-the-mill tuxedo knot, but I love it. I wish I had bought two, especially since they haven't been on the website in a while. If those come back and they're still $8 or $10, grab one. Great travel brush. So now that I've taken 10 minutes doing my artisan spotlight-ish, let's get into this. So let's do this in no particular order. And let's start off with petrichor. if the state of Western Oregon had a fragrance in any season except for summer, it would be petrichor. Damp earth. It totally smells like you're walking through an Oregon forest, like the thickets of an Oregon forest. It's super thick, ferns everywhere, moss, just damp, rainy, beautiful day. Like the one when I was shaving with, what was that, Black Rock? I don't know. Not too long ago, I did a live shave, an outdoor shave in the rain. That's the one where I was like getting soaked. This is a masculine, outdoorsy, smells exactly like wet forest. The scent notes were extremely difficult to find and obtain, and that's something that with some of them I couldn't really find an actual like profile that stood out. And this is one of them. We have damp soil, misty loam, refreshing. You get the damp earth and a moss, and when you get it warmed up, and whipped up, it just comes. It's so green, so fresh, so outdoorsy. Petrichor. That's the word for. I'll just put it right up here for what it smells like after it's rained. If you want an outdoor fragrance that really smells like the outdoors, and you want to know what it's like or what it smells like when you see me doing a shave video in the forest in Oregon, petrichor. Awesome. You want to know what it smells like when I'm doing a shave from the ocean? Oceana. I'll allow myself to get out of order a little bit, but that's okay because it's really not an order, right? It's just an order that I wrote down the notes on a piece of paper. Oceana. So we do have notes for this. We got aqua, sandalwood, jasmine, bergamot. Simple, right? So simple. And the aqua is kind of like a sea water, salt water thing going on. When I pick it up, a total day at the beach. Now, I love the beach from Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements, but this is in no way the same kind of fragrance. In fact, you could almost qualify this as a barbershop. It's just powdery. I don't know exactly, somewhere in the aqua. It's not, I don't think all the profile notes are once again being listed. And artisans do that on purpose. It's my understanding that one's not the law, and two, they don't even have to put the ingredients on the label, which is why you see some of the artisans, there's no ingredients on the label. It's not like with food. A great example is Southern Witchcrafts. If you look at their label or their tub of soap, there's not an ingredients list. And part of that is they do it to protect themselves. Just like when they do put them on there, when you buy food, this is all my understanding. If I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments below, but I did do some homework on this. When we buy food in America, they have to list the ingredients from the most to the least, right? Which is why oftentimes if you buy something like to drink, water is going to be the number one thing, because there's more water in it than anything else. So you go from the most ingredients to the least ingredients on the list. My understanding with soap, these shave soaps and cosmetics, is that they don't have to do that. And part of that is to protect their product, so that it's not so easy for people just to walk in and steal what they're doing, because another artisan could if they knew exactly what the other person was using. So I think some of this is deliberate, and I respect that, and I just want to put that out there going forward with this series, that in some cases Barrister Mann, from what I can find, is doing that, and that's awesome. He's protecting his hard work, and today when I go to work here in a little bit, I'm going to do everything I can to protect my hard work. Super clean. this fragrance. It just smells so good. It reminds me of going to the beach on a warm, not hot, warm day. That's so good. And you guys may have seen, if you follow my Instagram, that this is clearly one of my all-time favorites. I used to have it in the lather line. That's where I believe this originated, and then it came back out in the Soft Heart base. And I believe mine here is in the Soft Heart series as well. Next I have Figgy Pudding. Figgy Pudding. And I really wish Figgy Pudding would make a comeback. But it hasn't. Not since we last saw it. And I believe this was the only appearance. It was in the lather line. We have notes of green fig, oak, and spices. There's a touch of clove and a touch of berry. Oh, maybe like a cinnamony dessert. Like an English dessert that's floral, spicy. It's delicious. It's one of those soaps that you want to take and just grab a spoon and go to town on. If you can find this on the BTS, buy trade sell sites or wherever, grab it. If you can get just the splash, grab it. It's amazing. I really wish you wouldn't have done away with the lather line. I really liked them. They were more affordable. They were in the smaller tubs, which now they're all are 4 ounces, right? I think so. Yeah, now all the tubs are 4 ounces. Damn good stuff, if you can find it. Like Bob Seger. Let's turn the page. In a lonely den west of Omaha, we find Rome. Used this a few months ago now. I'm horrible at keeping track of time. Like, the older I get, I don't think I get any better at it. It's like bad. Not Leroy Brown. Oh, sir. So what we got in this guy is masculine, raw. Oh, yeah. If Charlton Heston had a fragrance, it might be this. If John Wayne had a fragrance, it would be this. We have leather, tobacco, real pipe tobacco, absolute. Herbs, damp earth, grass. Robust, that's one word for it. Robust. Old West. Out on a cattle ranch. Not like out in the fields. Like you're in an Old West movie and you're sitting around the camp and you just got done with the hard day's work. And you're sitting back with the boys, thinking about the hard day behind you and the hard day to come. I know some people hated on Rome. Like I said in my other video, my shave video with it, I ended up buying 2 of them. I only have the one now because I gave the other one away. I absolutely love that fragrance. I wish it would make a comeback. When it comes to masculine, that thing only has equals. When it comes to raw, outdoor, masculine, I am man, hear me roar, hear me roam. Oh, stop it, let's go. Keep on moving, man. How long are you gonna take? I'll take as long as I want. I was encouraged to.
2,000 years later.
So next on my list, is my new favorite. Oceana, I love. But my new favorite, I missed this a year or so ago when it first came out, and I didn't pass it up this time because I heard just how outdoorsy or how natural it smelled. The scent notes I can find on this one, this is the omnibus base. If you can find it, they're still out there in a few places on a few of the websites. And if you DM me on Instagram, I'll help you find it if you can't find it, because there is still a few out there. Not on Barrister and Mann's website. They're all sold out. I actually have the splash. and it lasts like for hours. This is one of the longest lasting splashes ever. I have the balm on its way here from Barrister and Mann. That's the last thing that they have left, and it's on clearance, is the balm in the pump tube. This is the splash here, but I grabbed it. You guys, this is the most natural smelling sandalwood, and if I could only have one sandalwood soap fragrance for the rest of my life, it would be this. One of the reasons why Will discontinued the lather line is because it was intentionally a little cheaper of a product. I'm not saying he was using cheap products or cheap ingredients, but it was intentionally not dumbed down. That's probably not the right word either. It wasn't as luxurious, okay? This fragrance, this omnibus base, everything about it is luxury. And like I was saying, the lather line didn't have lanolin. The Excelsior base and every other base did. One of the things that we have with the omnibus base is no lanolin. And so it's super cool because Will was able to capitalize on what he'd been trying to do since 2015, and that's create a premium, luxurious soap without lanolin, but one that would still leave your skin feeling hydrated, smooth, refreshed, all the things that we look for in a top tier soap. This stuff is so good, and you see I've been scooping from up there at the top. Sandalwood. It's cedar oil and sandalwood. Those are the only two notes that I could find. And for me, it just screams like fresh sandalwood, not like dried wood chips or, compressed oils from dried wood chips. But have you ever been in the forest, and for a lot of us, probably be like a pine tree, and you snap the branch, like a thin branch, or you just rub your hands along the needles? It's that kind of smell, but like a sandalwood. So natural, so amazing. So it is unlike any other sandalwood that I have in my den, and I probably have 5 sandalwoods or so, maybe a couple more that are supposed to be just sandalwoods. You can find sandalwood in a lot of fragrances, right? And a lot of different things. You see sandalwood is one of the ingredients, but when it comes to just being a straight up sandalwood, I know I got at least 4. This is the most natural wood smelling soap in my den, period. My first hazelnut acquisition is this guy, and he comes around, I believe every fall, late fall. Hazelnut, and it is amazing. I put it off for far too long. You could classify as a gourmand. You can see this one is a little darker than the sandalwood there. Notes in it, we have vetiver, hazelnuts. That's where the hazelnut comes from, hazelnut. In Oregon, if you've seen my video, we call them filberts. So this would be called amazelberts. Vanilla. For me, it's woody, comforting, and relaxing, like a cold autumn day. And you just go inside, you sit down with your favorite cup of Joe. The holidays are right around the corner. Chocolates, food, all that stuff. The vetiver up front, you're kind of getting this earthiness to it. The hazelnut just rounds it out with this woody, amazing nuts. It's damn good. This comes around, if you can find it out there, and you want a warm, comforting, relaxing, woody, gourmand fragrance, this is your ticket. There's no nut allergens in it. That's one of the things, if you find the sales page, you'll see that it's listed on there. And can't recommend hazelnut enough. I put it off way too long. Year after year I put it off, and I finally picked it up because I wanted to do my second shave from the Filbert Farm Orchard, Doris Ranch. I have 2 videos from it. The first one I used Plunder, and then the second one from there I used hazelnut. I'm getting ready to go back there here soon because I'm trying to capture that place in all 4 seasons. And then I did winter, spring, I want to do a summer and then go back in the fall to Doris Ranch. Ooh, not time to turn the page yet. Calm down, Bob Seger. Next we got Eau de Light. This is another one from that same kind of ballpark of late autumn release. And this one is a shot at the holidays. It's kind of going for like a Turkish delight. And I've never tried authentic, real Turkish delight. Just the stuff that you can buy like at the supermarket here. But what they're after is the real Turkish delight. And so what we have is real honey, apricot, hazelnut, lemon, and orange flower. Not orange, not an orange, orange flower. This is fresh, sweet, floral, slightly musky. Another one that you just want to grab a spoon and take a big ass bite out of it. Comfort, warmth, just like the amazel nut. If the amazel nut didn't appeal to you, but you want a warm, comforting fragrance this autumn, this is likely to make a comeback as well. Eau de Light. Next, let's talk about another one that I put off a little longer, and I just kept like, I don't know, because I've never been a big fan. Well, I used to be when I was a kid. If you've seen that video from the rainy day, I talked about why I don't like black licorice, why I don't like the fragrance of anise. And in the soap, one of the fragrances is anise, and so I put it off. And I put it off for way too long. Oh, now Bob Seger turned the page. This is one of the most complex fragrances in my Barrister and Mann wheelhouse. For notes, we have citrus, cured tobacco, mousse de saxe. We'll come back to mousse de saxe in a second. Vanilla, myrrh, sandalwood, there's that sandalwood again, resins, and geranium. So I had learned what mousse de saxe was before this video. I wanted to research it and get it right. Mousse de saxe is an old fragrance. I think it was the 1700s or 1800s, something like that, and guys started wearing it. But mousse de saxe is geranium, licorice absolute, quinoline. Has like a leather character. There's vanilla in it, and a type of iodine. And I was trying to do the research on that. If you guys know anything about that, put it down below. But the way I understood it is like somehow it's one of those ones that kind of like acts like a pivot. It enhances the fragrances that are already there. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you've got any info about mousse de saxe or anything below, please put it in the comments, and I may even pin it to the top. This fragrance, though, is dark, earthy. It's definitely got the leather, like I mentioned a minute ago. In the background, I get forest. The tobacco is there. Oh, goodness. Good tobacco, not like overly whatever, cheap. That's one thing with Barrister and Mann, fine fragrances. There's no corner cutting at Barrister and Mann when it comes to the fragrances that they use in their soaps. Mossy, musky. Amazing. This again is like, it's like Rome. It's one of those fragrances that just scream masculinity. It just screams it. Full Measure of Man. And a lot of these now are coming out in the new labels. And I'm not going to poo-poo on the new labels in this one. I kind of like a couple of them. A couple of them I'm not so big on. Next, let's move into Cheshire. Cheshire is rumored to be Will's favorite, the founders, the owner, Will Karras, the guy I was talking about earlier. And what they were after with this one was Earl Grey T. And they nailed it. The other day I whipped it up and shaved with it in preparation for this video, and I brought it to my wife, didn't tell her what it was or anything like that. And I held it up to her nose, and I told her, what does this remind you of? And at first she says citrus. And then I said, at first she said citrus. I said to her, think of something that you drink. And then she immediately says Earl Grey. And that's because he nailed it. This smells not like super strong, over the top. This is a nice balance, like medium projection fragrance. And by projection, guys, just how far away you can smell it, like the splash, right? It's not going to totally fill a room, but at the same time, it's not light. You get like a medium projection of how far away from you people can pick up on it. And of course, we're mostly referring to the splash, but the soap as well. It's not overpowering. The notes in it are clary sage, bergamots, and then we get small amounts of lavender and patchouli. When I first saw this, I first bought it in the Excelsior base. I didn't think I was going to like it. I just didn't. Like, black tea, Earl Grey, I don't know. But hey, it's Will's favorite, so you got to give it a go, right? I did, and I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm not even that big of a fan of Earl Grey. I enjoy Earl Grey, but I love Cheshire, and I'll always have it in my den. Last, but certainly not least, known as God's Barbershop. Seville. Now with this one, it's the only one that I have, or the EDTs, an EDT of. I've always meant to buy more from Barrister and Mann of their fragrances, but for one reason or another, I tend to miss out. I'm making a commitment as of a couple days ago when I started doing my notes for this to obtain more, because Seville, the fragrance, the EDT, is kick-ass. I wanted to read, though, from the sales page, if you don't mind. This is from the sales page. Everyone has a different idea of what a barbershop ought to smell like, but we tend to lean historically for this kind of stuff. Giovanni Maria Farina famously created the very first EADU cologne, I always murder that, cologne in the early 1700s, and it was an instant success. His formula was prized by the royal courts and was so highly regarded that it is still in production today. As a result of this popularity, cologne fragrances have been staples in European barbershops for well over 100 years. While we don't claim to be as gifted as Signor Farina, our Seville scent is definitely in a class of its own, affectionately dubbed God's Barbershop. And I said this at the lake when I shaved with it in my video. By some of our poetic customers, Seville is a blend of lemongrass, bergamot, rosemary, lavender, patchouli, and oak moss. The name comes from the famous opera, The Barber of Seville, but the scent is at home anywhere. It says, give it a try, you won't be disappointed. I love this stuff so much that so I bought this as a set, okay, when it came out, when the Excelsior formula came out. And then there's a limited run of this in the reserve. I'm not going to go into the splashes. I'm going to provide you guys a link so that you can check it out. There's a couple of really great resources out there that I use for creating this video. And my understanding, the most recent formulation of aftershaves is the Deltas. But like I said, in the description, you'll find the resources that I use for the creation of this video. But I love Seville so much that when it came out in the Reserve Splash, I didn't buy the Reserve soap, but I bought the Reserve Splash. It's fantastic. And it goes back to why I read that. If you saw my Sterling video, and when I talk about barbershop, it's not just me who believes that a barbershop can be anything and everything. Even Will, the founder of Barrister and Mann, this guy who's like the king of fragrances, he really is. Look at the one I don't want to get it wrong. Look at the description. I'll put it in there, but it's going to have a whole list of all the soaps that they've ever made. And the more you get to know about Barrister and Mann, you will know that Will is like the consummate professional and overachiever, like big time overachiever. The guy was working at Price Chopper, working in Cooperstown doing bat engraving while studying at Cornell University. The guy had 2 jobs and earning a degree at Cornell. He's an overachiever. He is. He's amazing. He's one of those guys that makes this hobby so much fun because they're small businesses. They're real people. They're not these corporate conglomerates without a face and just a bunch of shareholders and a bunch of people out for profit. This guy genuinely enjoys what he does. And I didn't ask him that. I don't have to ask him that. The proof is in the pudding, the figgy pudding. Okay, sweetheart. You can always tell if a man loves his work by how well he does it. He doesn't half-ass it. A man who loves his work pours his heart and soul into it. And the reason why we get so many different soap bases is because Will is doing that. That guy is clearly always racking his knuckles, racking his brain, trying to come up with something even better. The guy doesn't rest. He's like a couple of other artisans, people in this hobby that makes this so much fun. I hope I presented this in a good... I hope I presented this well. I'm ready for work. I'm all pumped up. I'm gonna get this edited during my lunch break and then tonight, and I hope to have it up tonight. It's Tuesday. Yep, it's Tuesday. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Take care of yourself. Enjoy the little big things. And until next time, have a good one.